Hi everyone, I'm Russ Hamilton. I'm a retired sergeant with the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation.
Hey, Keepers of Chaos and Tier Talk fans, Russ Hamilton here coming at you. Anthony asked me to drop a quick little video on you. And this particular video is about training, good, bad, non-existent. What does your department do? All right. So, having been part of the largest state department in the United States as far as corrections goes, which is California and stuff, I can tell you that I've seen all three. I've had good training, I've had poor training, and I've had non-existent training. So this is really to address and kind of give you guys some ideas of what you need to do about your own personal training and about sharing it with others. Because, you know, if you have a bunch of knowledge up here and you're not taking it out there and spreading it out to the masses, you're not doing part of your job as a correctional officer, as a correctional sergeant, as a correctional lieutenant, what have you. So anyway, just to get back to a couple of my experiences, when I first started in California Department of Corrections, they had just come up with what they called the apprenticeship program, right? And the idea behind the apprenticeship program was to make sure that you got a certain number of hours of training during a 2-year period where you went from apprentice to journeyman correctional officer, right? And it was really great in theory, and it was something completely crap as far as practical application goes. Because what happened was they told you had to do these things, but there was no formal training for any of it. There was nothing to say that you were getting good training. It's just if you went out there and you spent 2 hours escorting inmates, you wrote that down. And maybe someone came along during that time that you were doing that and laid some great tactical information on you, or maybe they laid some horrible tactical information on you, or for the most part, they just didn't show up at all. And so it was kind of like an honor system that you had. That part, of course, was really bad. Now, later on in my career, I got some really great training, especially with regard to like disturbance control, alarm response, whatever you want to call it. A buddy of mine, Rob Sharkey, who I did a previous video on the book that he put out called Knuckle Dragger. He was really involved in really helping bring California Department of Corrections up in their training, especially with regard to alarm response. And that was a huge thing, because you were talking about, 30, 40,000 employees that had to have this training. You're talking about, in order to roll all that out there and get it all up to date and up to speed and make changes and get everyone trained, you're talking about, about a, 7, 8, 9 year process just to get all that done. So that was great. And from a sergeant's point of view, that was one thing that we really needed, to be able to get out there on the yards and suppress riots and stuff without the need for necessarily for CRT to show up. And, basically it was a great thing because everyone became a force multiplier, because, we started carrying grenades, we started carrying MK9s, we had the availability of 37 and later on 40 millimeter projectile launchers, just at the ready. And so that part of the training was great. But there's a lot of things that can hamper training. Now, one thing that's already been established in a lot of departments, but is just now getting started in CDCR, and I have yet to really hear back from anyone as how it's going, is the FTO model. And FTO is a great idea. You have people that are, subject matter experts in enough stuff to train everybody out is the idea. And hopefully they can not only, train up the brand new people, but hopefully that they can get in there with the people that have been around and keep their perishable skills up to date. There's nothing like, maybe it's your first transport in 4 or 5 years and you can't remember how the belly chains go on. Well, you know what? Hopefully if your FTO guys are out there giving classes and brushing you up and, polishing up your skills and stuff, hopefully that's not the kind of thing that will happen. Too often departments get caught up in the mentality of running the shift, and they run from one shift to the next shift to the next shift, and they're not worried about investing either dollars or hours in all of this training that we need. So that's one aspect that you have to look at. You have to be on your supervisors and so forth to make sure that they're bringing you the training that you need. Now, another aspect that I want to talk about, something that can really hurt training, is a little thing that I call territoriality. All right. And that's where people like to take information and tactics and all the stuff and they keep it for themselves so that they can go out there and later on shine and be some, great correctional god. Well, that's not the way it works, people. The way it works is you have information, knowledge, and training. You share it with everyone. The idea is to make your facility a better place. Be that impact player where your facility is a little bit safer every day that you're there. I had an experience back in my career where me and several other people were really super dedicated, and we were footing the bill and going to gang conferences on our own and doing the necessary shift swaps to be able to get there. And, making that commitment and dedication. And then we were bringing that back and we were training up other people, and we were putting points on inmates and helping validate them and, trying to make a big impact, because at that time we were experiencing a lot of violence in our facility. And what happened was knucklehead lieutenant got a hold. He became the new investigations lieutenant, and he put an end to all that. And so he had his own little fiefdom where he could look down and see that his people had all the training and no one else did. That's not any way to run things, folks. If you're that lieutenant or captain or whatever that's in charge of training out there, or sergeant or whatever, make sure that as many people get trained and cross-trained as possible. That's the way you make a safe facility. And then eventually you want to try and put these people in a position where they can also apply whatever they learned, whether, it's some advanced handcuffing course or something that they can share with someone else, or get out there and be involved in cuffing operations during a riot, or whether it's being able to write a great memorandum or piece of intelligence about gangs and what's going on with a specific block or specific unit, in order to give other people the heads up as to what's going on in your facility. So anyway, I hope people will take this to heart. If you're it doesn't matter whether you're a young or an old officer out there. What matters is that you have drive and ambition to just know more. Sometimes we have to take the bull by the horns. I certainly did. I had to go out there, and we didn't have the internet back then. So it was a lot tougher than it is for you guys. And I had to, go and I had to find things to read and learn about policy and go examine the penal code. Get to know those things, be your own best advocate. And then when you know a little something, maybe later on, someone will go, well, he knows something. Maybe we should send him on to some more advanced training. Be proactive in your own case, though. And I hope people will take this to heart. I hope people will think about ways that they can share information. I hope that people, especially you FTOs out there, think about what you can do to help those people keep those perishable skills up and bring the new guys along and get them enthusiastic. They hang around all day, hoping for a chance to, use their skills and stuff, find especially the ones that really want to get in there and they're gung ho, man, really, light the fire under them, help them out some. So anyway, hope everyone enjoyed this video. I hope everyone will stay safe out there in your shift today. And everyone, take care.